warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to my beloved fellow guardians. My name is Srt606-Defend. So today I'm going to present to you my proposal defense entitled as the effect of sleep duration on cognitive function among young adults of human health related to the mental wellness and overall vitality, according to Ohio 2017. As we all know, when we sleep provides various of psychological and physiological reasons, and it consists of 5 stages according to NEDLAC 2015. The 5 stages are: the first one is the metabolic activity, which is enhance the breathing rate and lower our heart rate. The second one is endocrine system that enhance our growth hormone that's secreted to the pituitary gland according to Eccleston and Nelson 2003. And the third one is the psychological, the fourth one is the learning, and the last one is the motor memory stages related with the rapid eye movement according to Twisted Goal 2015. So recent study found out that sleep duration is actually associated with the cognitive function, and it affects differently based on the objective according to Laporte 2015. So what is cognitive function? Cognitive function is defined as the internal mental process that underlie on how the people perceive, remember, speak, think, make decisions, and solve the problem according to Benjamin 2010. So as we all know, cognitive function has a various type, and it can be divided into 3 major types, which is the first one is working memory, the second one is the executive function, and the third one is sustained attention. So what is the working memory? Working memory is defined as a brain system that provides a temporary storage and manipulation of information for complex cognition tasks according to Cato 2018. And the example of the working memory can be like memorizing an information and so on. So then the second one is the executive function. It's actually defined as the high level of cognitive process that enhance the new way of behaving and optimizing one approach to unfamiliar situation according to Gilbert 2008. This executive function is actually can give an example like when you go to the new place and you have to adapt with the environment there on how the people at the new place behave, so you must adapt with their behavior in order to get along with them. So this is the example of the executive function. And the last one is sustained attention. It can be described as a fundamental component that characterized by the subject readiness and detect and uniqueness of a signal over a prolonged period of time according to Sartre. So example of sustained attention is our attention on how we'll focus on something. For example, like our intention when we do the motor test, the signal on the motor test. So recent evidence found out that young adults suffer a sleep deprivation according to Levinson 2016. Sleep deprivation is actually a condition where the person suffer a decline in sleep duration or have a lack of sleep time. So young adults reported a decline in sleep duration compared to the young children and adults according to Chaput 2012. So why young adults suffer a decline in sleep duration? So according to Hikoski 2015, stress, environment, and busy lifestyle cause the lack of sleep duration for the young adult, because they have to related to the causes that I mentioned earlier. So lack of sleep also consistently demonstrate a negative influence to measure both physical and cognitive performance according to Simpson 2017. However, a longer sleep duration also significantly associated with the decrease of cognitive function and memory according to Van Ostrom 2018. This showed that there is no concrete guideline of sleep duration that enhance the cognitive function as been seen from the previous study, because there is no inconsistent result from the previous study. So hence the objective of the study is to investigate the effect of sleep duration on cognitive function among young adults. My study consists of 3 research objectives that be separated from the cognitive function, and the subtype of the cognitive function for my research objective. The first one is the working memory, which is to investigate the effect of sleep duration on working memory among semua young adult. The second one is the executive function, to investigate the effect of sleep duration on executive function among semua young adult. And the last one is to investigate the effect of sleep duration on sustained attention among semua young adult. Of study is actually the benefit that we gain from the study. So, as for my study, there are three types of person that we get benefit from my study. The first one is the young adult, the second one is the athlete, and the last one is the parents. So, young adults. How can young adults utilize the result from the study and provide a benefit for them? So, young adult, as I mentioned earlier, because of the stress, working environment, busy lifestyle, and also for the environment, they suffer a decline in sleep duration according to Hiskowski 2015, as I mentioned earlier. So, this causes them to feel weak, tired, insomnia, and does not focus on the next day to do their daily behavior. So by seeing the result from this study, they will realize how important is sleep duration, not just for their physical but also for their cognitive function as well. So they can use the result from the study and apply it on the daily behavior in order to enhance not just their physical but also for their cognitive function, such as decision making, memorizing, problem solving, focusing, and others. So the improvement in the cognitive function will make them feel more energetic and more focusing on the next day to do the daily behavior. So this is what can young adult gain from this study. As for the second one is the athlete. As we all know, athlete require a solid physical and mentally psychological aspect. So, the result from this study also will make the athlete realize how important of sleep duration. We all know that athletes require a solid decision making, problem solving, focusing, and also memorizing for their performance. Depend on their sport. For example, like a taekwondo, who require a good attention, and also for the footballer who require to make a fast decision making in order whether to pass it or to shoot the other goal, and also for the chess player who require to make a working memory on how to utilize the strategy. So by seeing the result from the study, they can apply it on their daily behavior and have a proper sleeping time in order to enhance their physical and cognitive function performance. So as this will help them to improve their performance as well, and they will become a better athlete with a good sleep quality. And the last one we proceed is parents. So parents, as you all know, they has a lot of responsibility for as for the father, for their wife, for their son, for their family, and for the mother is the for husband and for their children. So they can use the result for the study to have a good sleep duration and set a schedule in order how long should they sleep, and they can also apply it on their children. So by having this type of a schedule, it will not just boost their physical cognitive function only, but it also will make them to feel as a big happy family, because they will feel more energizing to get the bonds strengthened together. Sleep duration is one of the fundamental part of the sleep hierarchy that used to describe a process of behavior, environmental modification, and sleep quality, according to Nicholas 2020. So, sleep progress in the cycle that involve the multiple of sleep stages such as awake, light sleep, deep sleep, and the rapid eye movement, according to Avalon 2015. And sleep also provide a variance of the psychological and physiological function according to NADLAC 2015, and I has explained it earlier in the chapter number 1. And the example of the psychological and physiological function that provided by the sleep duration is, for example, like have a good memory, solid attention, and able to adapt to the new environment without any hesitation or any problems. So, what is the cognitive function? Cognitive function is a mental system that lead to the impression, rumination, intellect, and action, according to Donnelly and 2016. So cognitive function is actually a mental system that help us to do a three major things, which is for the memorizing thing, which is related to the working memory, for adaptation at the new place, which is the executive function, and also for the attention, which is related to the sustained attention. So Cognitive function can be described, as I mentioned earlier, into three types. The first one is the working memory, which help us to memorizing the information. The second one is executive function, to help us to adapt to the new unfamiliar environment. And the last one is the sustained attention, will help us to focusing on something that we want to do. The working memory. What is the working memory? Working memory can be defined as the part of the cognitive function that provide a memory stockpiling and controlling of data for complex cognizant elements such as memorizing information. Cato 2018. Or in a simpler word, it can be stated as the process of memorizing information or an information or a temporary memory for us to remember something. And the working memory can be measured by various types of tests, and the famous one is the NVAC test according to Cato 2018. As for the executive function, it can be categorized as the significance of the psychological procedure that encourage a better approach for carrying on and enhance one way to deal with a new circumstances according to Snyder 2015. As I mentioned earlier, the simple word of executive function for us to understand is adaptation to the new place in order for us to adapt to the new environment of place. And the test that can be used to measure the cognitive function is the Wisconsin Sorting Card Test, WSCT, according to Cato 2018. So as for the last one is the sustained attention. It can be described as a consideration portrayed by the subject ability to recognize the data accidentally occurring signal over a delay frames according to Nance 2010. So example of this one is how we can focus our attention, for example on the whiteboard. There's a variety of signal and we want to focus on one color from and many signal come out. So how can we focus on it? There is the example of this sustained attention. And the test that can be used to measure the sustained attention is the continuous identical pair test, CPTIT test according to Cato 2018. So research design according to Creswell 2011, he stated that the research design is the process that includes the process of the data collection procedure, data analysis and others. So it states also that the research design can be divided into two types, which is the experimental and the descriptive method. So the descriptive method is actually the research design that will collect the information from the trend, which this means that there is no administration or the control in this kind of research. So as for my study will use the descriptive method, and we use the type of descriptive method which is the correlational study. So this is because as from the objective of my study, which is to investigate the effect of sleep duration on cognitive function among someone young adult. This study wants to see the interaction between the IV, which is the sleep duration, and the DV, which is the executive function. So this study is actually want to see the relationship between the sleep duration, the IV, and the DV, which is the cognitive function. So this study want to see the interaction between the both variable, and hence the research design for my study is a descriptive method with the correlational study. So as for the sampling size, the target population for my study is Seremban young adult, and the population size is actually unknown because we actually don't know how big or how much the Seremban young adult population is. And the inclusion criteria that I choose is the age between the 18 and 25, obviously because I want to choose the young adult and it range between the 18 and 25 years old, the healthy, non-smoker and free for any medical disease. And the exclusion criteria is all of the opposite inclusion criteria that I mentioned earlier. So the type of sampling technique that I choose is actually a purposive sampling because I want to choose the subject based on the inclusion criteria that I want. And the sampling size for my study is, according to Creswell, at least 30 participants in the correlation in order to establish a relationship. So Creswell state that for my study is actually must have 30 participation in order to to have a relationship. So based on the G-Power software that I use to find the size of the population of size of my sample, the sample size will be a 32 participant, and the 20% will be added in order to prevent a dropout of the sample size, and hence my total sample size will be 39. So this is the example of the G-Power software that I use. So we proceed with the instrument, and the first instrument that we go with is to measure the sleep duration. And in order to measure the sleep duration, we will use the actigraph, or also can be known as the accelerometer. So this device is actually selected because this device has been utilized throughout the recent decade in order to measure the sleep medicine according to study 2011. What can be measured from the actigraph? Okay, the actigraph can measure the circadian rhythm, total sleep time, sleep efficiency, and also can measure the insomnia, and also for the sleep-wake rhythms. So the actigraph has been chosen because it actually has a good reliability. According to study 2011, it states that the actigraph reliability will increase and extend the monitoring data for more than 5 days, and it can reduce the error as well. So the data for the actigraph can actually be read to the software of the computer. So this the actigraph, we can connect it with the computer, and the data we can read from the software. So as for the working memory, it will be tested by the NBAC t-test according to Cato 2018. So this test requires the subject to memorize the number in the computer software jamming, and must persistently react passing the boost according to Cato 2018. So this is example of the NBAC t-test. Here it will be measured using the Wisconsin sorting cut test, WSCT, according to Cato 2018. So this test is actually consists of 2 cut pack having a 4 boost cut and 64 variation cut each. So each card have a different geometric shape in various color and number, as we see from the picture above. It has a various type of the geometric, and some of the card has different numbers. So the subject required to accurately sort every responsive card with one of the 4 stimulus card to the feedback, whether it's right or wrong, given to them based on the rule that has been set. So this test requires the subject to react fast according to the card that has been given to them. Attention, that will be measured using the continuous performance identical pair test, CPTIT. So this test is actually consist of 4-digit number output that present for a time of 15 milliseconds with a between boost interval of 950 milliseconds. So this test requires the subject to react to the both stimuli and for both response from the given digits. So each of the sessions consists of 150 trials, of which 30 targets trial require a response procedure. So like always, the first step is actually to receive the ethical approval from the University Technology of Mara, UITM. So without the ethical approval, we cannot do the research or the studies. So after we get the ethical approvals, we go to ask the permission to conduct the research toward the subject. This is actually to get the commitment and the willingness of the subject in order for them to join the study. So then after we get the permission and to conduct the research toward the subject, okay, we proceed for the next step by explaining objective of the study and the benefit and what can they obtain from the study. So after we provide a clear explanation regarding our study that we're going to do toward them, we provide them the actigraph for them to wear. So this is because the actigraph we provided earlier because we want to measure the sleep time toward our subject. So they will wear the actigraph for the 7 days. So then we proceed after the 7 days. Then the subject will undergo the next test, which to measure the cognitive function, which is the working memory using the NBAC test, the executive function using the WCST test, and the static extension using the CPT-IT test. Then after the subject has undergo the 3 type of the test, okay, the data collection procedure will begin, and the data will be collected from the test and from the antigraph. So after the data has been collected, this is where the data will be analyzed in order to interpret the result from the study. So before we begin the data analysis, so the pilot study will be conducted because we want to measure the reliability and the validity of the instrument, and the coronavirus alpha will be used is 0.80 in order to see our instrument, which is the antigraph, the NVAC test, the WCST and the CPT-IT test, whether they are reliable or not. So if they exceed or in range between the 0.80, this instrument will consider as reliable, and hence will provide a better result from our study. So as for the data analysis, we will analyze based on the research objective that I've been mentioned earlier, which is concept of 3, to investigate the effect of sleep duration on working memory, to see the effect of sleep duration on the executive function, and to investigate the effect of sleep duration on the sustained attention on sebanyak adult. So usually the correlational study will be used the analysis method of the correlational. However, as for my study, the regression analysis will be used in order to measure the objective. This is because based my study is actually want to see the interaction between the IV, which is the sleep duration, on the DV, which is the executive function. So my study want to see what kind of effect the sleep duration will provide to the cognitive function. So it's actually different from the correlational study, because if the correlational study, there is actually the effect between both two. If the sleep duration increase, then it will also affect the cognitive function. So if the cognitive function increase, it will also affect the sleep duration. So it's actually not for what my study want to see, because one study is actually the effect on one variable, which is the sleep duration, on the DV, which is the cognitive function. So the regression analysis will be used, and furthermore the IBM SPSS will be used, and the p-value will be set as 0.05, which is considered as significant regarding the effect of sleep duration on cognitive function among serban yang adult. So I would like to give a special thank you to the fellow panel judges who will see the video presentation of mine despite having a busy schedule in this pandemic of coronavirus. So thank you so much for your time, and we will see on the Q&A session, and I will end my presentation with thank you, arigatou gozaimasu, and stay safe. Kokineyo.